Hi, it's Amy here, and today Click Roll Boom will be talking to Oxford's Shaven Primates, who are on the cusp of releasing their second album, Birds Aren't Real, which is out on the 28th of July. So, can you tell me who Shaven Primates are, a bit about the band's history, how you started?
Oh God, it was that was very much me in a bedroom, sort of in a moment of despair, trying to get back into music years ago. I was going through a lot of therapy, and then I needed music to sort of get myself through it. So I started writing a few songs and did this sort of template of about 7 songs or something. Got Neil on board first.
Yeah.
He was our keyboardist. Our keyboardist. We all, we don't have any ownership of people.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was like. It was band mix or something like that you were on, or I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, band mix. Yeah,
he got a demo together of basically an album, and he wanted to work it up into a proper band situation. So he started looking out for help. I was the first one to notice that the demos were great. Recognized there was a lot of talent there. So
they're all right.
I came on board, and then I've known Tom from Tom's guitar teaching. I bumped into him by accident, and then
You mostly do.
yeah.
So everyone.
Jared was on Gumtree, which is really cool.
Yeah, I put an ad on Gumtree of a crushed, empty Guinness can, just saying board drummer looking for new project on these guys.
That was it.
Yeah.
And we'd never let him leave.
Actually, back to the stage a few months ago. We make sure he didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Close call.
full on coercion. Yeah.
So, have you all been in bands before then?
Yeah.
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 But is this the first time any of you have worked together?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Sort
think
of.
we worked a little bit together
Yeah.
through the studio and the other band that you're not a member of, but you don't know about it. But yeah, we've met before.
Which band was that, Nick?
No free plug.
No, really.
Yeah.
That is the strangest name for a band I've ever heard.
What's the origin behind the band name?
Oh God. You can't answer every question with "Oh God, man."
Yeah, it was coming.
This is quite dark, so I don't know how to sort of go with this, but
Start with a not so dark layer. Then
I'd have to
every
go.
time you go a bit deep.
It's a bit like an onion, you know.
It is a euphemism of a name of a term that I decided was kind of also a good way I could turn it around and say Shaven Primates. I'm not going to say what the other one is, but oh God.
Is it something? Is it?
How do I try to say this so lightly done? But human race is very weird.
Yeah.
Basically.
When your kids ask you.
Yeah, the kids ask you.
When your kids ask you where's the name come from, what do you say to them?
What I say to them is that we are but Shaven Primates. We are primates that decided to.
Yeah.
Oh, except.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't.
That's
The
right.
inner nature of the animal.
That's the PG one.
It's also a philosophical one.
Now, unbeknownst to us, Mark has some other deeper meaning to it.
Well, you do know, but yeah, it's,
It
yeah.
took me a while.
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it's that important. Is it? I think is it?
No, I don't. It's like a while.
But again, it's the same. It's all about shaving. So
Yeah,
it's all about
the human race is weird in that way, and we all have this thing like men must not shave their armpits, but women must because
Well, that's all changing.
it's that sort of thing.
You
I
can read
just-
about it in the car.
or why we sort of do all these weird things like you have to lift your breasts to make your breasts look big, and you have to look like this and put fake tan on and all this, and it's just kind of it's expected. It's like this thing is yeah. So I just went
The only known
That's it.
species at the moment, the only known species that actually, for instance, not suggesting we should not, but we're the only species that wear clothes or decide to change their appearances by means of, I don't know, like putting gel in the hair or because it's pretty white. We're the only species that we know of at the moment that does this sort of thing. So why?
Yeah. Making the podcast. We have, yeah. We never got around to it.
So, it's a bit around gender equality then.
yeah
Yeah, gender stereotypes.
Yeah,
very
just
good quality. Yeah, I mean,
a lens on society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was deeper than I was expecting. I thought you just like monkeys.
Hold on, I think you're onto something there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the original, I think, and we just checked it out.
We're trying to justify ourselves, aren't we?
No, we're opportunists. We decided on the word monkey, and we thought that we could plug other things in. No, we planned.
Yeah.
How would you describe your sound?
Oh, we've been called so many things.
Yeah.
Not all polite.
We definitely gender hopping, for sure. I think.
Yeah, art rock. I would go with just as a thing. So anything we want, basically. Yeah.
It's quite interesting because we all come from various different backgrounds, but we're very different and very similar at the same time in that we've all brought our own little bits of influences. Big on prog. Tom likes. What do you like, Tom?
Nothing really. You've got funk rock and things like that as well.
Yeah.
He's Tom's guitarist is and
so it's all like completely different styles of influences, but they do seem to come together relatively nicely. And that's what we do. We play what we want because we want it, and that's it. It's work.
Get away with. Yeah. I one of the tracks on the new album was influenced by 80s video game soundtrack.
Yeah. Electronic stuff.
Yeah, for me mostly. Obviously, I'm a keyboard player, so mostly synth electronic. But yes, I think.
Is this different to the previous projects you've been in, or is it quite a similar sound to past bands?
For me, it's completely different.
Yeah, I would say different for me too.
Mark started out as a DJ. There are people asking you, "Are you doing any more DJing?" I believe. Yeah.
Never want to go back to
So drum and bass, big bass.
Oh, drum and bass. Wow, that is different.
Yeah.
Big difference.
I was doing early electronic music in the 90s as well, and then took a big break.
Yeah.
And then my builder asked me to be in a Camel tribute band, and I thought that'd be fun. Did that for a while, and that's how I got to know Tom, by using this very room we're in now for rehearsals for that a few years ago.
Yeah.
And so, I think definitely from lots of different directions. Yeah.
What other bands would you say have influenced your sound?
So for me, it's quite simple. It's Yes. The 70s. Because I do actually. So you asked about the project's difference. From the other projects that I was on before I started this one, my setup is very similar. I bring those elements of that band as well, sort of indirectly and surreptitiously, to integrate in what we do. But yeah,
hang on, we'll go around it then.
For me,
Well,
God. I don't know, because it's very for us. It's very different from anything I've done previously. So I always kind of liken it to it's a little bit sort of David Bowie meets Captain Beefheart, with more distortion.
Yes.
It's about the closest I can get.
Yeah, I try and chuck in all different things I can find from post and pre-punk and punk and things like that as well, and sort of mix that in. So that's my sort of contribution.
I guess for me, is percussion wise, a lot of the earlier Chili Peppers, some rock stuff, and Deftones, like for more of the harder rock things. I mean, there's plenty other to speak about, but those are probably two good bullet points for mine.
I like to get a bit of ABBA in there. 40.
Oh, UB40 most definitely.
Yeah. Mark loves
I listen to a lot of classical. And lots of German electronic music. I tend to try to swing that in without the boys realizing.
That's really
Yeah. Anything very wide. That's why it takes so long to write stuff.
Is that why?
Yeah, because I've never done it before, and I'm just pulling out from anywhere. And then,
You're not going to know what is true or not.
Just anything goes, is it your sound? Just anything goes, just whatever you feel like.
Yes.
I think so.
I keep getting distracted by the man with the bird head walking around in the background.
Oh,
Man.
That's Mel.
That's Mel.
Put it down on purpose. Sorry.
Whereas Mark's actually a bird wearing a Mark mask.
Yeah.
That kind of ties in with the next question. You're about to put out your second album, Birds Aren't Real. Can you tell me about it?
Oh God, look at me. Oh God, yeah. So we did just clump together things because we need to get the previous album was all very kind of introspective, autobiographical, all this one big plan I had of like this story, and this one was just like, let's just chuck shit at the wall and see what sticks. So
there was a loose theme to it.
There was.
I
found it in the end.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, to be inspired by Louis Theroux documentary on American alt-right is like, you know, I don't think we haven't contacted Louis yet about it, but
it's on the agenda.
Yeah,
it is actually.
And to be inspired by that sort of thing is great.
Yeah,
I don't think many people. I think we do take on difficult, tough subjects, but in the same sense, not taking ourselves too seriously whilst we do it.
I try not to go in and mock the thing that it's about. I try and just look at it from that lens and then just be that thing. So that's one, for example, of being someone who's like a social media let's say fascist. I'm going to go just with the word fascist, because they are outright. They call themselves that. That's nothing. It's not me, sort of, and then just kind of saying it as it is, and not kind of judging, but just putting out there. There's a few of them. So like birds aren't real. That was the same. That was kind of going, what is it like to be someone who's in deep belief of a subject that's not really kind of, no one else can see what the hell they're going on to at Earth, the society.
Just as easily written.
Why would you go there? And this middle one, silicon implants, is all just like a news bulletin of observations.
It ties in with the fascism stuff as well, which is cool. So there's a common thread there. And, then unmasked
autism. We've got some commonality with. Well, I'm autistic. Son's autistic. So there's something about it basically, but also from all the things experienced with that. And
similarly, I'm undiagnosed, but probably. And my son definitely is autistic.
It was quite a subject, that one.
And we could have perhaps tied those together because of all the sort of conspiracy theories about MMR jobs and things like that, which are bull. But we could have looked into that perhaps with this. But you know, something's got to give, and I think we've covered a lot of topics.
Darkest one is decision because of the subject matter. But I won't go into depth. But it's basically somebody took their life, basically. Just kind of covered it from that lens of being, again, that person, why they went there, who it affected, how it affected them, that kind of thing. So that's the hardest one. I think we'll go with it.
What's good money about 5 minutes ago?
Our writing process is that while there was a sort of subgroup within the group looking at the subject matters and the topics we're discussing, at the same time we were coming up together with the music just by jamming and thinking, well, let's try a bit of this, let's try a bit of that, what sounds good. And with those two pieces of work happening simultaneously but in slight jointed way, we still managed to put all of them together. And, I think it's just we've got a lucky star that keeps telling us what to do, and it works. And we enjoy it.
Picking up new stuff already, and
When you write, do you write collaboratively, or does one come up with the lyrics and then you put the music to it? And what tends to come first, the music or the words?
So like I just said, I mean, the first album was very different because it was already pre-written mostly by Mark,
which we then ruined.
We then ruined with our
defaced. I'd like
I hope it's kind of respect kind of for you, Mark.
But the second one's been more collaborative, but in smaller groups. There's always been a couple of us working on that particular aspect, and maybe later on those two plus another one do some other aspect. It's been dynamic, I think, is the best word.
Kind of choice of chords, at some point, you end up with a bit of noise to start off with, ideas, and as they start to form sort of like a galaxy coalescing or something, you then make decisions based on the paths you think are right then. So the chord changes in a decision, for example, match that sort of thing well, and then we add more and more layers on afterwards once we've got the gel together.
I didn't know this. So.
Such short late.
And that's where he does the last thing on the list, which is to write the lyrics.
Yes.
mostly the lyrics. The general concepts would be like through joking and generally being ourselves. Started some ideas, but it's really then you, once the music was all there, what bits of it, chunk, that then you started putting your, pardon the expression, your mark on it.
Yeah, and what's good is we record every rehearsal from beginning to end.
For better or for
legal
worse.
purposes, and blackmailing purposes, and also it was very helpful for me because I'm not the most fantastic keyboard player. Every session I'll do something half decent, but for me it's a job going back and listening and finding out what works, and then a lot of times developing it at home and then bringing it back a bit more developed. It's time.
Creative process, basically. I still working out what our creative processes are, and not getting violent.
Do you find you have a lot of creative differences, or is it quite harmonious when you work together?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good answer.
Just leave it there and move on.
No, I'd like you to expand.
We'll just leave it there.
Okay.
We're fine. No, then the previous creative process, we decided we built a studio in the middle of it.
Yeah. That added a few days.
In absolute fairness, I don't think there's not really any sort of particularly big barriers to creative differences. I mean, everyone has a slight different opinion, which I think is normal and relatively healthy. But I don't think anyone's ever fallen out particularly over it. I mean, I think someone tends to give in the end for the purpose of the song, I guess.
I think everyone gives and everyone concedes it.
Or we just don't tell Mark.
I think it's good because I think you do need to sort of challenge ideas, because that's how you evolve sound. That's how you kind of grow your sound, rather than if there's never a difference and you all disagree. I think you're never pushing yourselves, never challenging boundaries and stuff. So I think it is good to have a certain amount. I don't mean have physical punch ups in the studio, but actually have some sort of disagreement. I think is healthy.
What was interesting about this album is because, as you mentioned earlier, Jared was potentially moving back to America. The big focus was to get the drums and the bass tracked early on.
We just thought it was going, so I think like the solo that Jared did on this middle one, you got to hear this because it was just like his life was ending.
Silicone implants.
Yeah, silicone implants. It was like he just went, might as well just do my best here because I'm never going to see you guys again.
Play this live.
I was going to buy all your drums.
It's very hard to play, very complicated, technical.
Yeah, I said, Swan. What's it called? Swan. Swan song. Yeah.
And then we kidnapped him back from the States, and then he's like, "Oh no, I've got to play this stuff now."
Yeah.
Without practicing.
Without practicing, yeah, of course.
So now the new album's ready to come out. Are you taking a break from songwriting, or is it just a perpetual process?
Gigging.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah, this is now going to be.
The boys have been doing ideas actually, and they just keep telling me, "Got some chords you got to do."
We're just kind of going, "Oh, we've got the thing because we do it in a jam, and then we'll just leave it there, park it, and then just this is how it's going to be all about rehearsing, getting our sounds tight."
And there's a lot of promotion as well. So, it's a lot of
do you do all your own promotion?
Yeah, Mark basically. We just tell him
to force me to do it.
Yeah.
And we ask him regularly if it's done yet.
And eventually.
Why isn't it done yet?
Yeah, have you finished it yet?
I think we're doing
How about
now,
now?
actually.
Oh, that's right. Okay, good job, Mark.
What's been your biggest show to date?
We've had one.
There's a film festival. We just covered it. One of the things that the studio does as well is to do live video streaming, like technical stuff as well in sound. So we've just been doing that yesterday, but the year before we played at the festival itself, and that was nice. It was really nice big stage and
16 bands.
Yeah, it was intense. What was it called again?
You've not got a huge.
Yeah.
You've not got a huge amount of live experience at the moment, then.
Not as a band. I think individually, all of us have through different bands, different projects, and different work. But yeah, as an entity with 5 of us,
we played a lot of the venues in Oxford, haven't we?
Yeah,
and Jericho Tavern we've done. We're going to be doing Social Tap on the 28th.
That was all seeing whether this stuff was going to work. What we had with the previous album. Whereas the other one is the wide push. We're going all out
Lockdown kind of hit in the middle as well.
Yeah, we were getting the momentum, and then that was the year. Yes.
Have you got any shows lined up at the moment?
Mark?
Yeah, so we've got one live stream on the 28th right now. I'm just
July.
Yeah, July
28th right now.
Right now.
Right now. I never heard of this month being referred to
as right now.
Right now.
Well, we're pioneers.
The Tap Social in Botley.
That's it. So in Oxford, where it's based, and yeah,
It's a cool venue. Actually. I like it a lot. They got their own brewery there, which also helps. And it's kind of popular, and it's a pretty cool place, really.
I've got
fairy lights and stuff.
They got
a couple
of promoters I've been in touch with. A couple of promoters I've been in touch with, and we've been it's likely to be Leicester and down the south. And
they use reclaimed roofs.
Don't distract him. You can
see that, right?
You don't need any distractions at all.
Mark's easily distracted.
So
we've broken him several times.
We're going to get asked to do this again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we had a few gigs basically in and around.
We do want a lot of bands.
Yeah, so
going through the unsigned list, and
we've got full list on unsigned guides, applied out to festivals and locations like Manchester, Birmingham, London, all those kind of places. It's kind of kicking off. So we just wanted to get the album out and promote it now. That's it.
What band would you most like to go out and tour with?
Oh, they're all dead.
Yeah.
That's a point.
Yeah. No, I would say actually it sounds bizarre, but Gary Newman has a lot of weird things around it, and I wouldn't mind that because I think he just has a lot of very different bands played alongside of it. Anything that's kind of, I don't know, that sort of clings to that sort of darker, punky kind of side of things and post-punk stuff, and that's an odd one. So I had a question like that. I don't really. Who else would you say? We don't. Yeah.
The only bands I would mention, they probably wouldn't have us.
Yeah. No, that's the most serious one I can think of. He's got The Cure. I'll go with that. Anyone will have us really.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yes.
We can open for Ken.
That was on my
Top 3.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. And UB40, of course.
UB40. Anything is karaoke reggae, basically.
But I think that on a serious note, I think part of the problem is, as you were saying, Nick, a lot of the bands that we were sort of taking inspiration from are probably no longer touring.
Yeah.
So and it'd be nice to tour with someone who would be a fit sort of sonically. So I'm not entirely sure who that would be, who are still doing touring. And actually looking at it sensibly, a band who would still be touring, who'd actually be playing the kind of venues that we'd actually be able to play. But I don't know.
Do you think it's important when you're on a lineup that all the bands are similar, or do you think it can work if bands are quite different from each other and contrast in sound?
For us, yeah.
Well, we've always ended up playing on eclectic lineups, but that's in part because of the way the Oxford music scene works. I think it can work both ways. I think it's nice to have an eclectic night and people can come along and listen to all manner of stuff.
Yeah.
Occasionally it hasn't worked.
We definitely don't work with metal. Something. If you put on a metal band before us and after us, everyone will just go and listen. They come to the metal part and then what the hell is going on here? And then they come back again.
Which was that?
That was a while ago now.
Right.
But I think also we're having sort of maybe not necessarily similar bands, but certainly sort of similar themed.
Yeah.
So having sort of like an art rock or a prog rock theme or something along those lines can also be quite. I'm happy with either. I just quite like to go and play. So I'll take whatever comes along.
I wouldn't even mind like Radiohead. It's like a big one, but
you're just throwing names out now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
In the hope that someone
most famous bands.
How about
What do you prefer, playing live or recording in the studio?
I get different kicks from both of these. So I actually enjoy I enjoy a period when we're working, concentrating in studio, working at home, whatever, and then get to, especially towards the end of work, towards completion, and then thinking that we gotta gig that, because that's it's not really a different performance, but it's a different type of performance. We know that in the studio, we press the big red button. If we mess it up, we stop it, we start again. Whereas live, you don't really have this luxury of saying to the audience, let me tune in first.
Yeah, gigging these days is so different. How you market yourself and social media.
For me, I love playing live. I love recording, but I think I prefer the writing process and the creative parts of recording, the actual process of pressing the button and kind of doing the slog of getting it done. So certainly for me, definitely playing live is definitely the thing that I want to do the most. Which I'd like us to definitely do more of.
On board, prefer the creative process and exploring sound and all that stuff, but you got to get up, you got to do it, you got to put on a show. It's great stuff.
What does the future hold for the band?
I don't know yet.
I wander aimlessly.
Today is the day I quit.
No, I really want to do a proper push, basically, and just get us out there. Now I feel like we've found our feet with this album. I feel like we need to do it like full on and get out, play.
Put us in there.
That means, but you know,
I think practically means music videos, which might be happening a little bit today. Heavy promotion, and just because we've got the one gig lined up, but we haven't actually got anything.
Oh, you've got many gigs lined up.
About 7, 8.
All right, edit. Being honest.
Which stage Wembley? I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I've got a list of about 60 or 70 promoters to go through, basically. So,
I think because again, previously we'd sort of been a local band.
This is and
I've always sort of played sort of locally in the scenes since I was about 16. So but the plan for this was to really kind of expand out of the city. And try to sort of play, as many places as possible. It's not a limitation to where we'd want to play across the country, really. I mean, we love the Oxford music scene. Amazing. There's sort of bands.
Dying,
it is dying simply because the council and the university keeps selling all of the buildings. So it's also quite tricky to get started in the city now. Sort of a relatively new band.
That's why Social Tap's good. As they go on their roller shutters and things, that they are a new venue that always got something different on there, and it's sort of popular because
I notice it around here with a lot of the local bands. They seem to get stuck in a rut of just playing the same venues. I think it can be very easy not to try and venture, and also because it's so expensive to be in a band and to travel about, I think it can get very easy just to play the same venues to the same people.
It depends. I mean, there's some people who actually sort of like it. There's nothing wrong with it either. But I don't think we are specifically of that ilk. It's thinking it's fine for us to play the same venue. I think it much like our style is very eclectic. We'd like to also be eclectic in the places and the conditions in which we perform. There's
a community at the so there's a community locally, at least, that they like to go out and see different people at these different places. It's nice to keep that together, really, as well. I think it's actually really important. I've met a lot of new friends in the process of doing all of this, so there you go, except for these guys.
You've mentioned the new record. When's that due out?
July 28th.
July 28th, all on the same day as. Hopefully, I'll get the music video out at the same time as well, but you never know.
Get it done.
I've got to go to a zoo after this.
Take the kids out.
That's going to be part of it. Bird theme,
Well, we had an idea. So after this record is out, we're looking to sort of basically record a sister album to it. Which, there's no date on that because we haven't really started any of it yet. But the idea would be to combine the two and have a kind of conjoining theme between the two. And then sort of probably release both as an entire package as well later.
A similar sort of sound to the current this record, or something totally different?
Who knows? Anything can happen.
There was some. I think we have found a theme a bit. It's quite sort of like that whole kind of little bit, it's actually bits of book, bits of high elements, emotional parts, and things like
Lots
that.
of delay.
Lots of delay. Yeah. What, you mean mental delay or?
I was talking about effect pedals, Mark. You do you.
Yes.
It's delayed with coming up with their parts.
Yeah.
I think that we sort of started. It's been a common thing with us that we always jam a little bit in between, and there's a lot of ideas that come from those, and because we do record all of our practices, we can go back to them and say, oh yeah, that particular thing, we might develop it, or we just abandon it thinking no, it's really, that will be depending on the mood of the day, really.
Yeah.
It's whatever we fancy at the time.
Yeah.
And lastly, give yourselves a shameless plug.
Mark.
There you go.
28th of July, our album's coming out, and we'll also be playing in Oxford. There's gonna be loads of people there. It'll be a free gig, so anyone can just walk in. Got 3 other bands playing.
It's also live streamed, so anyone can watch anywhere across the country.
Yes. So it'll just be there
Mark.
on Facebook. Find it on our band page and on the various other things as well.
On the studio page.
On the studio.
Oh yeah, the studio Tag is good. That's a good plug.
That place, Tag Studios, is really good. Yeah,
It's
Tag
all right.
Studios. You also run Tag Live as a live streaming
I
format.
was there last night when
Yeah.
live. They were really professional.
Oh, do you mean that's what you're doing? Yes.
They were really. They're lots of cameras and
How
just
famous do you want this?
editing.
It could be. So
The bar
much
is sinking lower and lower, isn't it?
Also, birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real.
Oh yeah, they are.
That's most definitely.
They are.
Yeah.
And where can people connect with you on socials?
Oh yeah. You'll see it.
Facebook, Instagram.
Linktree/Shaven Primates.
Yeah, we're not
That'll
on
be
Twitter.
everything on
Are we
there.
on Twitter? Twitter's
We're
not
on
really.
Twitter.
It's not really cool anymore, is it?
No.
No,
Thanks, Elon.
more fascist.
My social network. Check next door neighbour.
We're on everything.
We're not.
Yeah.
Wherever there's something for us to be in, we are in.
You're just everywhere, are you?
Yes.
We have no shame.
We've got spray cans and everything.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. It's been lovely talking to you.
You basically-